Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We are in beautiful Sin City in the Diamondback Lantervain Studios, and we have a continuation. I believe this is like part 4 of our Road Trip 2.0, looking at the attractions and oddities, the roadside attractions and oddities, not just the people, but the actual places you can stop and check out some of the weird, wild stuff that you find on the side of American highways whenever you take that, I think, lost art of the road trip. But I hope we inspire people to bring it back.
Me too. You and I are about to go on a road trip, and I think we're going to put some of these on our agenda, places to stop by when we're out driving around California.
Yeah, we have covered areas in the Southwest, the Southeast, the Midwest, and now we're going to look at, in this episode, the West Coast. California, Washington, and Oregon. California could be its own thing.
Right.
I think there's a lot of stuff in California, but I've tried to space it out a little bit to give you a lot of... Surprisingly, when I'm looking at this list, a lot of these things are right off the 101, which kind of meanders through the West Coast, but it makes total sense.
Well, I mean, you hear people talk about driving up the California coast, and I guess that is kind of the ultimate scenic road trip. So why not put these oddball attractions right there where people are driving and give them something to do besides look at the beautiful ocean?
Yeah, like when you get bored of all that natural, God-given beauty of the ocean and beaches, some trees, yeah, you're going to want to stop and grab a bite to eat, or maybe sleep, or just stretch your legs. So we have a whole list of places that you can hopefully put on your map, and that old Rand McNally, that foldable map that will never fold back. We want you doing that, not Google Maps. Rand McNally, this.
You got to do it the old way.
Yeah. One of these places, the first place I want to talk about is in San Luis Obispo. And this is actually one of the places I've been to. And it is the legendary Madonna Inn.
I've heard about it from other people. So when you went to see it, I had a little bit of an idea of what it was. But I haven't been there. And seeing the photos of it, I really can't. I wasn't expecting it to be as over the top as it is.
It is for, and I'm sure this is like one of those things that if you Google it, you see pictures of it, you've probably, I mean, it's popped up in TV shows and in movies, and it is, once you see it, it's unforgettable. Okay. Basically, it's a 110 room explosion of color and theme. And that is not an over-exaggeration. I mean, it is pink from head to toe, but every room has its own identity, and none of them are subtle.
That's a good way of putting it.
They are not subtle. It opened in 1958, and it was created by Alex and Phyllis Madonna, who are, and their family is still around the San Luis Obispo area. They are pillars of the community, and, you know, there's a whole history there where they were into ranching, and the family might still be into ranching, but they were there a long time ago. Anyway, this was the place to be for a very long time, and they have an entire wall. They have pictures everywhere of the stars that used to stop by and spend a lot of time at the Madonna Inn. I mean, you have, and it's all old school, folks. I mean, you have John Wayne and, you know, kind of that golden era of Hollywood, but there's a lot of pictures, and a lot of these people, they didn't just stop by for the picture or the photo opportunity. They actually knew the Madonnas and were friends with them. They spent holidays together with a lot of these people.
Well, and we met someone who grew up in the area, and she was telling us on field trips in school, they would sometimes go to the Madonna Inn. Like, that was an educational thing for them to go see this place, because it is so steeped in history, but it's also just interesting, I guess. So you had the privilege of going there last year. And the first thing you told me was it's pink. And not just a little pink. Like, it's very pink.
Yeah. I mean, every surface is either like pink or gold or stone or some kind of combination of them. The carpeting is like pink roses. They have entire rooms. I mean, there is a cafe and a bakery attached to it. People do weddings there all the time. All kinds of different amenities that they've added over the years. I think right next door is horse riding, so horseback riding and things. But in the middle, is like, I think their crown jewel, which they have their dinner service, which there's a gigantic, like, I don't know, flower tree in the middle of this room. And it almost looks like something that you would find in Vegas, but it's in the middle of pasture land and things like that out in San Luis Obispo.
I think San Luis Obispo itself is a roadside attraction.
I think it is.
Like, you went there for a few days and you had some unusual experiences, but you also told me that they have sort of a bit of a rivalry with Seattle when it comes to, they both claim to have the original bubblegum wall.
Yeah.
Which is disgusting.
If you've ever been to Seattle, you know they have the bubblegum wall, right? And it's down there by the market. But San Luis Obispo also has a bubblegum alley, and they will throw hands on you if you suggest that Seattle had this bubblegum wall before they did. And San Luis Obispo is also kind of a college town, so it does have this younger energy, younger vibe, but it is like in the middle of ranching. And then just a few more miles up the road, you started getting into these beautiful vineyards, just miles and miles of vineyards. And this is where it's the beginning. It's not Napa Valley, but it is the beginning of where you're going to start seeing where all these wonderful California wines come from.
Right.
And it's just I think you hit the nail on the head there, saying that San Luis Obispo is just kind of a stop too. It's right off of the coast. It's not a coastal city, but it is about 20 miles or so from the coast. So all those little towns in there, it's hard to distinguish one from the other, but it is a wonderful, I think, little place to stop.
Yeah, you did. Do you remember when you were at Madonna Inn, though, you called me and you were like, I've never seen a men's bathroom like this before.
They are very proud of this. And that is what, that is one of the stuff, like one of the things. I was on a press trip, and when we pulled up, they were like, I think it was me and maybe one or two other men in this group. And they were like, you guys get a special treat. We want you to go downstairs and see the men's bathroom. And I'm like, that is a weird statement.
That sounds like you're not coming back from the men's bathroom.
Something's going to happen to me in the men's bathroom. But they're very proud of this. They have a men's room urinal, which is a waterfall. It is a stone waterfall. So like you just stand back.
And you pee into the waterfall? I don't understand.
Yes.
Doesn't it splash?
No splash.
No splash? I hope
splash,
you don't wear flip-flops when you're doing it.
Well, yeah. I mean, you shouldn't wear flip-flops anyway. But, yeah. I mean, and they're very, very proud of this. And that wasn't the weirdest thing, is that I actually had to use the bathroom, and I was like, well, I'm here. I took a video of it. I've shown it to you. But while I was there at the urinal, full on in the wind, two women walked into the bathroom, two older women, and they were surprised that a man was in there using the urinal.
They were told to go check out the men's bathroom?
Oh, yeah. They came in cameras ready.
So you're in someone's picture.
And they were upset. They were like, oh, my God, there's a man in here.
Can you please put that away so we can take a picture of the waterfall?
Sir, you're blocking the waterfall. Yeah. It is quite the place. The Madonna Inn in San Luis Obispo. Check it out. We'll continue on to Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We're in Las Vegas, Nevada in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. And we are having fun talking about some roadside attractions and oddities you can find if you're traveling along the west coast of the United States. A favorite amongst people who do road trips in the U.S. A lot of these you can find right off of the 101, right in the middle of some of your favorite cities and areas. This one, we were just talking about the Madonna Inn in San Luis Obispo. If you go about, 500 or 600 miles north, exactly 320 miles north of San Francisco, you'll find our next place. It's practically
oddly specific.
It's practically Oregon. So you're getting into the area where you're going to see tons of redwood trees, those giants of the, forest. There you go.
Yeah.
But it's a place called Trees of Mystery. And it has been around since the 1940s. It was one of the original places where you could go and see these incredibly just large and mythical redwood trees of California, especially Northern California, and kind of walk among them and be back in nature.
So we haven't been to this part of California, but we have been to Sequoia National Park, and we saw the giant trees there. And at first I was a little like, oh, so they're just trees. But then when you get there and you realize how huge these trees are, and that there are fallen trees that they've carved out like tunnels that you can drive your cars through. It is one of those things. It's a little awe-inspiring, I guess, because you really can't fathom it. So I'm really looking forward to us going up to Northern California and seeing redwood trees and going to a place like this where they're kind of celebrating this. And I know I have a whole thing about, people commercializing on the natural beauty of something, but this place does feel like it really is celebrating the trees and not just trying to make a buck off of it.
Yeah. And they have, just miles and miles of trails to go walk amongst these amazing redwoods. But they've also, over the years, adopted more things for people to do. And it's kind of become this whole, full day experience if you choose to do this. So there are things like the redwood canopy trails, which is, walk high in the trees.
Oh, like on the suspended bridges?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Suspended bridge canopy trails. There is what they call their sky trail, which is a sky gondola that'll take you up alongside the mountains. And then there's what is it? It's Paul Bunyan's favorite trail. And this is a trail that's dedicated to tall tales. Ha ha ha. And mythical things and folklore and all of that, because right out front of the Trees of Mystery is where you're going to find kind of an attraction by itself. And that is a 49-foot tall Paul Bunyan statue with, of course, an equally as large Babe the Blue Ox standing next to him.
I remember learning about Paul Bunyan as a kid and being fascinated by this giant lumberjack and his blue ox named Babe. I really don't remember the story of where he came from or what he did other than he was a lumberjack, but I love that this place that celebrates trees, their mascot is somebody who cuts down trees.
Remember to think of us for your next commercial needs. We'll let people know. It's a great place. But
he's not just a statue. This Paul Bunyan actually talks to people. He gives weather reports. It's just funny. It says people are often shocked when they walk by and it just starts talking to them because they don't realize the statue has a voice inside. Yeah. But it must be more like a microphone and speaker situation, because I was reading that it will sometimes comment on individuals that are in front of it. So somebody must be watching the crowd and pulling out specific people to call out and comment on.
That sounds a little bit more I don't know if I like that. The thought of either Paul Bunyan or one of his minions watching me.
He's judging your attire. He doesn't like your shoes.
He's going to call out something very specific that I don't like about myself. Like, everyone see that man right there? He has feminine hips. And I'm going to be like, oh, no. That makes me uncomfortable. And they, like I said, they are very large. Paul stands around a little over 49 feet high. And he weighs approximately 30,000 pounds. His waist is 52 feet around. His chest is a robust 66 feet in circumference. And not to be outdone, the blue ox measures 35 feet at the horn tips. They have giant horns. So by the way, Babe has giant horns. And it also weighs close to 30,000 pounds. I saw somewhere that a few years ago, during or after a bad snowstorm, the horns actually collected so much snow they broke off.
Aww.
And they end up having to replace the horns on Babe the Blue Ox.
That's sad.
So a lot of people will stop in just for pictures with Paul Bunyan and Babe and apparently get talked to by someone on a microphone. But a lot of people spend at least a couple of hours at the Trees of Mystery. I think it's one of those fun things. It's not, to me, this doesn't reek of a place that's like, oh, okay, they're just trying to steal $1 off of,
right.
People that are passing by and things like that. This is more of just had like good family fun.
It looks like they also decorate for the holidays. So if, you want to do a whole holiday light experience that's a little bit different, go check it out because it looks like they decorate the different trails with lights and things like that just to make it a little more festive.
Man, I'm looking at pictures of the Canopy Trail, and that's where you just kind of walk, on the bridges that are up in the trees. But these aren't ordinary trees. And so I don't know if you're up amongst the actual redwood trees, but some of these pictures they have on there, that's pretty high up.
I mean, we did that at a different forest.
What was that place in Vancouver with the bridge?
You're going to call me out on it. Starts with a C. I don't remember.
It's a really famous bridge, right?
But yeah, we did this and it was fun, but it had also been a rainy, chilly morning and they were all the suspension bridges were a little bit slippery. And we were both sliding into each other. It was a little scary, I will say.
Yeah. And that main bridge, was it
Capilano
Bridge? That sounds right.
Something like that.
But they say it has 10 platforms, 2 that are connected by a spiral staircase and 8 suspension bridges, which that seems like a lot of fun to go do, especially if you have younger kids that are just driving you crazy. They're in the car. You can't strangle them anymore.
You can't say that.
Yeah, this is a fun stop. Keep it right here, Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Check us out online, unscaledtravelshow.com. For all of our past episodes, interviews. To check out the other episodes in this series right here called Road Trip 2.0, all about traveling the U.S. and the stops for the oddities and attractions that you should put on your list. So you and the family can check out, as you travel the roads and everything. We're talking about, these oddities and everything. And I mentioned a lot of these things are off of the 101. And we mentioned that the Trees of Mystery are just above San Francisco. Well, just above 300 miles north of San Francisco. Well, if you keep on going, if you didn't get your fill with Paul Bunyan and Babe the Blue Ox and all of that, a few miles north of that, go past Portland a little bit, almost halfway between Portland and Seattle, you'll find our next stop in Long Beach, Washington. Now, I was today years old when I realized there was a Long Beach, Washington, and not just Long Beach, California. But there is a great stop there, and it's called Marsh's Free Museum. Now, Marsh's has been around since the early 1930s.
Wow. Okay.
So it is definitely, an attraction. Locals know it. People in the Pacific Northwest have been stopping for, decades and decades. But everyone else, now it's time to write it down and go check out the, it's like half museum, half carnival sideshow, half, scary
taxidermied
stuff.
Animals.
Yeah, there you go.
It is a little bit, I would say curiosities is a good way of putting what's in there, because it is taxidermy things. It's a lot of artifacts from shipwrecks and other things, but then there's also some items that you're like, is this real? Mm-hmm. Did somebody make this? I think that kind of goes back to the thing we were talking about in Arizona. Like, was this just made to get people here to see this? I don't know. But one of the biggest attractions in Marsh's Free Museum is Jake the Alligator Man. What? I'm going to assume he's not actually an alligator, but I don't know.
Jake the Alligator Man is apparently a mummified half man, half gator creature that has been the museum's mascot since the early 1960s. So people stop by and see this. Oh my God, there's a picture of it. Is that real? You see it online? Is that real? What is that?
There's no way. There's no way.
No, see, because I got a friend who once found one of these. What is it? They also have a picture. What is that? A Sasquatch? Well, he looks angry.
Bigfoot, yeah.
Bigfoot Sasquatch thing. But yeah, so and even their story, they say they technically got established in 1921, and it's family owned and operated, and it's basically off of a shipwreck. They found people were coming and seeing the shipwreck, and very quickly, this guy who started it, his name was Wellington, which is just a great name, Wellington Marsh Sr. He sensed a business opportunity, and because you didn't have to have a whole lot of licenses back then, he set up a burger shop, a temporary burger shop, and started selling burgers to people that were coming and watching see this ship basically kind of disintegrate into the ocean and all of that in real time. And some people, the story goes, some people couldn't pay their tab because it was also starting to be like the Depression times and stuff. Mm-hmm. They couldn't pay their tab, so they would pay with odd things that they had. They would basically barter out for burgers.
Interesting.
So they started ending up with all kinds of stuff that you might find in carnivals and in museums. And they officially opened up shop on this free museum that you could go see stuff. I believe in like 1930, 1931, something along those lines. And it's like you mentioned, it's just kind of this cabinet of curiosities.
It is. And so I was reading where it currently sits isn't the original location. Mm-hmm. So they moved in the 70s. But at some point, or outside of the original location, they built, again, a roadside attraction, a giant frying pan and razor clam. I don't know. But those have stayed at the original location. So there's kind of two roadside attractions in one, I guess you could say. You have the old location mm-hmm. where the giant frying pan still lives, and then now the new location that they have also added the world's largest chopsticks in front of.
Sure.
Because that makes sense, right?
Why not? I'll tell you, I've read about the frying pan before, right? So there are a few different world's largest frying pans. And I think the official biggest one, I believe, is in North Carolina. But this one has the distinction of, number one, being the oldest giant frying pan because it is the original frying pan. Okay.
The original.
But in I want to say the 60s or 70s, they actually used this frying pan to cook at the time, which would be the world's largest, I think it was some kind of clam dish.
Really?
And almost 20,000 people showed up to get a little piece of this Guinness World Record back then. So it has the distinction of being the oldest, but also being the biggest frying pan that was actually used to cook a dish. And it's still out there.
That's interesting. How did they heat it, I wonder? How did they move it?
The world's largest,
campfire?
Campfire.
Interesting. Yeah, now I want to go see this giant frying pan for no other reason than to know it was actually, it's not just a useless statue. It was actually used.
And I believe the actual frying pan part, this might put a damper on it, the actual frying pan part rusted and had to be replaced. So only the handle.
So now it is just a statue?
Well, the handle's still there. Boo. And that was a part of it.
Boo.
But inside.
Thumbs down.
1 star. 1 star on you.
1 star. This isn't a real frying pan.
Inside, you'll actually find a roulette wheel from the Alaskan gold rush days. All kinds of vintage photographs, old-fashioned vacuum cleaners, life jackets from the haunted Queen Mary,
which we've been on.
That's in Long Beach, California, by the way. Gas clothes, ironed wooden shoes from Holland, hair curlers. I don't. Why would you? All kinds of rifles and swords, all kinds of stuff from around the world, all kinds of taxidermy stuff. It's a really weird place. Keep it right here. It's the Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We are chatting about some wonderful roadside attractions and oddities you can find when you're on your next West Coast road trip adventure. And it's amazing how many of these things are just right off the 101. Like, I think the 101 I think it's just its own little oddity, an attraction, right? It's not quite the one. The one hugs the highway or hugs the coast.
Yeah.
But the 101 will take you to some fun adventures.
I think when you go down the 101, you have to build in time to stop at some of these things because there's just so much. We can't talk about all of it, but there's just so much to stop and snap a photo of or just get out and see. And this next one, when we were looking at what's the top roadside attraction in Oregon, this one was the first one on every list I looked at.
Yeah. And this is the Prehistoric Gardens. The Prehistoric Gardens, also off the 101. But the Prehistoric Gardens is kind of like a rainforest style roadside park. And it has, and this is what the kids might love, or you big kids out there like me, it has 23 life-size dinosaur sculptures that are lurking and hidden amongst the ferns and the moss and the trees of the Prehistoric Gardens. So that kind of answers the question of the prehistoric part, you know. But they began in 1955 when sculptor E.V. Nelson, and who was actually a sculptor and a taxidermist, wanted to mix a little education with spectacle.
Why is it always a taxidermist?
They spend a lot of time with dead things.
Interesting.
So they have this area you can go, and so like all your favorites are there, right? Your T-Rex and your Stegosauruses and your Triceratops, and I think they all have names, I believe. But every dinosaur is hand painted concrete. So just to answer your question, Amy, they are not real.
It's not Jurassic Park.
They are concreta, okay? But they are painted in detail. They look beautiful. And, for things that were built in the 1950s. So now they're a little bit outdated, but they still look great.
So it's a walking trail, right? And these are like kind of tucked in places around the trail. That's what it sounds like on the website. Because it says the trail only takes about 20 minutes to complete. So I'm guessing as you're walking, it's kind of like a zoo, but the animals aren't real.
Yeah, it's Jurassic Park on a lower budget because you can't recreate the dinosaurs.
Well, somebody probably could, but do we really want that? No.
I don't know. I don't know if we should spend more time on debating whether we should or shouldn't, right? Their largest is, of course, a brachiosaur. You know what brachiosaur? That's part of Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that's my favorite one.
It's 46 feet long. And, of course, it is wonderfully towers over the forest canopy. So Nelson spent more than 2 decades sculpting each creature by hand.
Wow.
He used rebar and mesh and plaster before casting the final cement shells around these dinosaurs. So each dino has a small plaque describing its era, which is scientifically earnest, delightfully, I don't know, vintage in its way, how you used to walk up and just get all kinds of information about things, right? I don't know if the information is still
accurate
because they've,
I don't know,
made advancements in what they know about dinosaurs. But the good thing is the whole site is family run, and it's been that way since the 50s. So,
and apparently the Prehistoric Gardens have been featured on a lot of TV shows and also on the Discovery Channel, on various business television shows. So it's one of those things like you can stop in and see it, but you may have already seen it somewhere else, and now you're going to see it with your own 2 eyes. I like it. I like that, again, it's kind of getting you out of the car and into nature a little bit, but it's doing it with a fun little twist.
Yeah. And I especially see families seeing, doing stuff like this. To me, that's the whole point of the road trip.
Right.
It's not just like the destination or where you end up or whatever, but it's like, that's the journey.
Right. Get out, show the kids something new.
It's seeing the stuff on the, a billboard on the side of the road going, the world's largest frying pan.
Right.
See dinosaurs in the forest or whatever. I mean, who wouldn't want to see that?
I mean, when you were little and y'all went on road trips, didn't you say your mom used to make you get out and be like, go sit on that rock so I can take your picture?
Did I have the only parent like that?
No.
Like, go sit on that. Oh, see that giant mushroom over there?
I did it to our kids.
Obviously concrete. I have pictures of me in random places standing on or nearby random things.
They're like, go look at that weird tree. Go stand by that weird tree over there so we can take a picture of you next to it.
A couple hours north of the Prehistoric Gardens is a natural phenomenon that is kind of picking up popularity over the last decade or so, and that's Thor's Well.
It's a giant. I've seen this on Instagram and a few other social medias, but it's a giant sinkhole, but it's actually like, I guess, on the edge of the beach. So it looks like something you would see in a movie, like a waterfall that you would fall into, and on the other side is Wonderland or something.
Yeah.
Like that's immediately when I thought of like, this is from some sci-fi movie commercial thing. The first time I saw it, I was like, there's no way this is real.
Do they call it Thor's Well? Has it always been named this? Or is it because of that one dopey scene in the Thor movies?
Good question.
They needed a scene to give Chris Hemsworth's character a reason to take off his shirt. So they had him just like leave everyone and go splash around in the water for a little bit. Remember that? I think it was in one of the Avengers movies. And he's like in a well and sees visions that absolutely lead nowhere. It's like a dead plot line. They just needed a reason for him to take off his shirt. But he goes into a place like this. It's like, looks like a sinkhole place, and there's a pool at the bottom, and he just splashes around like a Norse god with washboard abs.
Are you jealous?
I'm a little bit jealous. I don't even know why I brought this place up.
Well, Thor's Well looks really cool. It does say to keep your distance because the waves and the current can be very strong, and this is not something you want to fall into. Yeah,
it says it looks bottomless, but there is in fact a bottom, and you can hurt yourself if you fall in. All right. You were warned. Keep it right here. Unscaled Travel Show will be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-host and co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We're in beautiful Las Vegas in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios, giving you insider information. Insider information, only heard here. We're talking about road trip oddities and attractions that you should definitely consider. Put it on your list when you're traveling through the West Coast. And we've given you a lot of things that are closer to the actual coast, which makes it convenient. But you know what? Not everyone travels in a straight line. So the next one is really cool, but it takes you out of the way a little bit, especially once you get to Oregon. And it is to a really popular place that people in Oregon, I think they've been gatekeeping for a while. But it's the Lava River Cave outside of Bend.
Yeah, it looks really cool. It's part of a national forest. And it's one of these places, well, if you are claustrophobic or you don't like dark places, we're going to encourage you not to go here.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you like to explore things or even like things that are a little bit creepy, you might love this one. Because you actually descend down into the lava caves, and then it's over 2 miles that you tour through the caves that these lavas have made.
The lava's made them. Oh, nice.
The lava made? I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
Well, it looked good because it is part science exhibit, part natural catacomb, right? So visitors can rent lanterns or bring their own lanterns from the ranger station and vanish basically underground into a world of black rock and echoing drips. The pictures, we can talk about it throughout this segment, but the pictures, just, it doesn't do it justice, for us to sit here and talk about it. You really need to check it out on Google or places like that, because this isn't the only set of lava tubes. Mm-hmm. Obviously. I mean, there's some, if you're talking about road trips, there's some outside of Flagstaff, and also some near, I think, Joshua Tree National Park.
Maybe, yeah.
Pretty close to here that we've looked at. But these lava tubes, these particular ones here near Bend, they were created 80,000 years ago by the eruption of the Newberry volcano, which is now under the U.S. Forest Service, authorization and everything. But you get to go down in there and see what underground people would live in.
Well, and I had a question, and the website does answer it. Okay. Yes, there are bats in these caves.
Nice.
So again, if you're afraid of bats, you might not want to do this. But one of the things the website is quick to point out, they ask that you do not wear or bring in any clothing or gear that you've taken into other caves and underground areas.
Why is that?
Because apparently there is this thing called the white nose syndrome, and it is harmful to bats and it's contagious. So it can like rub off on your clothing in one cave and you can spread it to another cave. So they want you to wear fresh, brand new clothes to when you go spelunking, I guess, underground in these lava tubes.
Look at you, spelunking.
That's probably not the right word for this activity, but I like the word, so I'm saying it anyway.
Just gotta try to work those into everyday conversations.
We spelunked to the grocery store.
Yeah, and people are like, I don't know if we should hear this story. But they also, like park rangers, there's weird things, especially when you go underground. We don't know anything about underground. I also don't know anything about science, but I imagine we don't know anything about being underground because we're such an above ground species. But they also warn you about oxygen dips.
Oh.
Like dips in oxygen underground, just various, points.
That's concerning.
Yeah. I'm like, that sounds...
So is this on the list?
Sounds like something we shouldn't be a part of.
Are we stopping in at the lava tube?
I generally love my oxygen. You know that. I love my oxygen. I love my various gases. So being without any of these.
You left some gases for me yesterday. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I like to share my gases. Share my oxygen. Do all of that. So, check that out. Consider it. It's right there outside of Bend, Oregon, which is a fun little place by itself, right? Further down, going back into California, Red Crest, California, is what they call the Eternal Treehouse. It sounds eternal. But what it actually is, this one is probably gets more kitschy, right? It's a souvenir shop and cafe and even post office inside a 2,500-year-old redwood trunk, a fallen redwood trunk, along the Avenue of the Giants. And if you don't know what the Avenue of the Giants is, should also be on your list. The Avenue of the Giants is a giant section of
redwood trees.
So we're going back to the redwoods, man. I really want people to go check out redwood trees.
I think, again, we can't stress enough that you can't fathom how big these trees are until you're standing in front of one.
Yeah.
Like, it feels unnatural, even though they are natural trees. But it feels unnatural for these trees to be this big.
Yeah. It's almost like, those people that have that weird obsession with like Lord of the Rings. Not that I'm saying you're weird. They just have this obsession with Lord of the Rings, right? So the Eternal Treehouse is a 20-foot room that's carved from the stump of this 2,500-year-old tree. Okay. So, and it sits a little bit below ground. So like when you walk into the house, when you walk into the building, it feels a little bit like entering a hobbit hole.
Yeah. It feels very fairy tale-ish.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of like the draw of it. And then they keep the other like building and like commercialization to a minimum. So you have the giant ferns and the trees and
right.
So it's very naturey, and they even call it the formation of stumps around the redwoods is called the fairy ring.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
So that's something that, and you'll find a cafe there, a gift shop, at one time a post office where you could send postcards.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I think this is something that even if you're not really into, I don't know, trees or fairy tales, it's still a really cool thing to see. Because how often are you going to be able to see a store that's built entirely inside a tree stump?
Right. And check this out, like even the natural occurrence around the stump. This is why like some of this stuff is so, you would think like, oh, I don't want to stop for a cafe or something like that. Just one of those things. Here's a little bit more to it, right? So they have pictures on their website, which is the Avenue of the Giants. You'll notice in some of these pictures that the stump is surrounded by a ring of redwood trees. And that is a naturally occurring thing. I talked about the fairy ring, right? This happens when a redwood drops seeds, and those seeds generate those young sprouts. So eventually the center tree that dropped the seeds dies, and it leaves a circle of healthy trees behind.
Aw, that's a little sad.
Right? So it's like it's babies.
It's sad though. The babies killed the parent.
Oh my god. I don't know if that happened.
Well, it's interesting though, because some of these trees, like you said, over 2,000 years old. There's a grandfather tree. It's estimated to be over 260 feet tall and 24 feet in diameter.
Wow.
It says it's over 1,800 years old. Like, again, you can't really wrap your head around how big these trees are until you're standing in front of it.
It says that, you can drop with the post office, you can drop mail or postcards or whatever. Mail, postcards there, sent from there, carries the official postmark, Eternal Treehouse, California.
Oh, we should do that.
So it's also a unique little thing, for people to get to go, where is this place? Well, there's only one place in the world you can get this, and I thought about you. And so I bought you this 25-cent piece of paper.
I sent you a postcard from a tree.
Very tree. We'll be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We're in Sin City, Las Vegas, in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios, giving you, well, we hope we've given you some places to consider for your next West Coast road trip. So, yeah, you got to stretch your legs at some point. Got to let the dogs run around, let the kids run around, let yourself run around a little bit, have some fun, right? And this is, I mean, you know, we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but I think these oddities, and this is episode 4 in this series here, so we still have another region of the United States to talk about, but these oddities, these roadside attractions, they aren't, all of them anyway, they aren't anything necessarily life-changing or anything like that, but it is part of the point of road trips.
Of enjoying the journey.
Yeah. Like you're in the car with people that hopefully you like on some kind of level. And it's these shared experiences with people. And
right.
I think over the years, like that used to be the thing, especially here in the United States, right? You loaded up the family in the Studebaker and you know, like that movie, National Lampoon's Vacation. They were going to Wally World, right? But when they get there, Wally World's closed. Spoiler alert. But it's more about that whole journey. You went with your family. You loaded up in the car. And somewhere I think we lost a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Now people hop on planes and they want to go to fancy places.
It's all about the destination now.
Yeah. You want to get the pictures for the Instagrams and the Facebooks and stuff like that. But there is a certain joy in going back to stuff like this.
Yeah. I think you and I have really tried to recapture this, just enjoying the ride, enjoying the scenery and what we see along the way. Yes, we want to get to the destination, but it's not always about the destination. It's just being together and seeing new things. And I really enjoy that when we travel, because we have both traveled with other people who did not want to do those things, and you're just stuck in a car for 7 hours. Like, we're only taking one restroom break, and you're like, okay.
Everyone's peeing in a bottle.
And you're like, but that sounded really cool. You know, the world's largest ball of yarn or something, which we talked about
Ball of twine.
We talked about on one of the previous episodes. It's like, yeah, it may just be a giant ball of twine, but when are we ever going to get to see a 20-foot ball of twine again? Let's stop and look at it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I love about traveling with you is you're always up for, yeah, let's go. If I see something and I'm like, hey, that sounds interesting, you're like, find out how to get there. Like, you're always up for making another stop along the way.
Largest frying pan? You had me at large. I don't know. A couple of places, at least one place we've actually been to, in Seattle. Now, Seattle has a lot of kitschy, fun stuff throughout the city. It's a whole land of weird, and I really like it.
It really is.
I really like Seattle.
There's so many things in Seattle we can't even get to.
But the famed hat and boots. You know, like Puss in Boots? But this is Hat and Boots. Hat and Boots was built in 1954 as a Western-themed gas station office with restrooms. Okay. And later it was moved to a place called Oxbow Park and restored by the locals in 2003, excuse me. Hat and Boots is indeed a hat, a giant hat that is 44 feet wide, and a pair of boots that are over 20 feet tall. And locally, they decorate them for holidays. And it is, you know, it went from its original point was like, that was a billboard back then. Go see the giant hat and boots. You stop in for gas and things like that. And now it's something that, you know, it is part of that destination point. Like, I want to go see this. And yeah, there's probably some little things around it, but like, you want to go get a picture with the giant hat, like, and make it look like it's sitting on top of your head, like you're wearing a
right,
or the boots and things, and it's, you know, fun.
Well, the original owner of the gas station said when he decided to build a gas station in this area, he wanted something that would make people stop there.
Yeah,
and the person who designed it drew it out in 15 minutes, and they were like, yes, that's it. So the actual office is underneath the hat. It looks like the hat sits on top of this little glass room, and then the restrooms are inside the boots. So like you are actually going into these things. It's not just something to stand in front of. They are actual they were actual functioning buildings. I think now at this point they're just something to see, but they did actually house
Have
a
a
business
purpose.
at some point.
The rest, you've always wanted to pee in a boot.
What's funny
Yes.
is now the people that, I guess the town owns it. It's part of their park, but someone asked the people that kind of maintain this, the ones that restored it, why did you do this? And they said, referring to a few of the attractions we already spoke about, there's lots of big Paul Bunyans, teapots, and dinosaurs, but there's only one big hat and boots.
There you go. I mean, again, there's only so many places that you can stop and see a giant 4 foot, that is hard to say,
44 foot.
wide hat and 20 foot tall
This,
boots.
though, when people talk about Route 66 and the Mother Road and the different attractions that people saw, this is exactly what I imagine.
Yeah.
This type of thing.
I mean, pretty close to us, we have the giant thermostat,
Yeah.
and all kinds of, and that's kind of the point, right? We've discussed over all these episodes, the world's largest this and world largest ketchup bottle. And this next one kind of fits right into that theme too. The world's largest giant artichoke. And that's just in Castroville, California, a place that you and I pass through pretty often.
Yeah, we drive through Castroville at least once a year, and I have to say I've never noticed the giant artichoke, but I am driving through this area this weekend, and I am going to be looking for it now. I'm going to pull off in Castroville and go take a picture of this giant artichoke.
The world's largest artichoke is a large sculpture in Castroville, and it is 20 something feet big. It was built, it's sculpted, I should say, in 1963 by a guy named Ray Bay, of course, who owned a roadside restaurant and vegetable stand. Bay's fruit and vegetable stand still stands next to his restaurant as of just a couple of years ago. It's still there. The restaurant's still open and active as far as I know. But it is, artichokes and Castroville, if you didn't know, kind of go hand in hand.
That's what they're known for. That part of California is all farmland.
Yeah.
So every little town kind of has its own identity. There's the garlic town, and there's the, again, artichoke town, and there's the one that I want to say is dates. It's like every little town is known for farming a certain vegetable or fruit. And this one is artichoke. So I'm going to have to go check this out.
And a little tidbit, just a little trivia for you folks out there who love interesting facts. The town's very first artichoke queen in 1948 was someone, I think you told me they were famous or something, I don't know. Someone named Marilyn Monroe was the town's first artichoke queen.
I did tell you that before she was Marilyn Monroe, when she was Norma Jean.
Norma Jean was a
She
artichoke
was
queen.
the first artichoke queen.
Very first. She made it. She made it, man. So, and finally, we turn back to Turner, Oregon, the Enchanted Forest. The Enchanted Forest is kind of scary to me. I don't know why I included it. It looks fun. It looks kitschy. I don't like these kind of things, but it's a hand-built fairytale theme park. Opened in 1971. It has concrete castles, animatronic witches, storybook villains, all nestled in the mossy woods of the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, this does very much feel like you're stepping into a fairy tale, but kind of like the scary side of the fairy tale a little bit. Especially this, is it a witch face that is standing at the entrance? I don't know, kind of creepy. But there are parts of it that are lovely with the castles, and I think for a little girl who loves fairy tales, she might really enjoy this, or she might be totally freaked out. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
And it's right there next to, I think they claim it because it's a little bit bigger, but Salem, Oregon, which also does a really fun Halloween thing. But the Enchanted Forest is a seasonal place. It does, over the years, they've added thrill rides, like they do have a 40-foot like tidal wave splashdown ride. But it's fun for all ages. and especially young ones, they will really love that. Or if you have kids that are really into, I don't know, I keep going back to Lord of the Rings and fairies and all of that kind of stuff.
Is
Lots
Lord
of
the
whimsical
Rings
stuff.
the equivalent to like Disney princess movies for boys?
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Well, if I could be anyone, I'd be Aragorn.
Okay.
Maybe Gimli. Okay. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening. Keep it right here. Unscaled Travel Show. We'll see you guys next time.